Well, hello again, everyone. We are back today. It is time to do another episode with some Sho'nuff. And today we actually have a bunch of aluminum stuff on hand. So we got our engine pan, where right now it's all only just tack welded and formed. Back here it needs to get trimmed out to clear the bell housing kind of stuff on the factory oil pan of the S2000. And then we're also going to add another little piece in up front about 1.5 inches out, and that will actually be the containment, you know. So this is kind of like will be provisions for the bell housing stuff. So we got that stuff to do, final weld that all the way around with those additions. Then we also got a little bit of work on the breather box. Just got to cut off these right here and just need to put a little bit of a kick on them. The chromoly in the back of the tube chassis and the wheel tubs kind of are in the way. The chromoly is not really in the way, it's mostly just the tubs. So I just need to give it a slight kick forward on both of them so they'll be usable. So we got that in store. And then also to be able to get the engine pan all ready to go, we need to go ahead and take the motor over here. You know, we got Shane hiding back there working on the NSX. He's trying to get that done. So yeah, we're gonna take that engine, stick it back in here. And earlier this week I had already taken the liberty and went ahead and made a front engine torque plate. So this plate will bolt to the front of the engine, and then we'll be adding some tabs for that to bolt to the frame rails in here. That is some of the stuff we have in store. So our very first step is get the engine back in so we can make sure we get the correct clearances for that engine pan, get it all knocked out, and yeah, we're just gonna keep Sho'nuff rolling along. Yeah. Sho'nuff, it's time for me and Shane to take this motor and we're gonna stuff it in Sho'nuff so we can get more mock-up, more stuff done, get stuff off the list. Because we know once that list is clear, Sho'nuff's gonna perk. Yeah.
Half inch at a time.
Sucker! Pumping as quick as I can.
I think so too. I think so too.
Gotta go up with the lift just a little bit.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Don't want to scratch up your nice new paint.
Alright, that looks like it should clear. Push that nose in a little bit until it feels turning direction. Right there. Start coming down.
Yep. Watch it consume the engine.
Go towards the driver's side.
Yep, we are. We're pretty far forward as well.
We'll just keep slowly getting her down and adjust the lift as we go in. Should be pretty close, right?
Yes, it should.
inches away.
Feel like
On this side.
we're hitting something.
Yeah, we got a stud. There we go.
Oh, I see.
Just go down a little bit.
Yeah, it's real close to where it goes.
I will go in real quick.
Shawn's gonna go in there and find the bolt holes. I can't tell where he's at. Otherwise, I'd show you what bolt he's putting in.
Alright, it should stay there, so you should.
I'm letting go.
Yep. And if you could push in the passenger side in a little bit, that's what I need.
Okay. I need to move around.
Just like a push and a wiggle.
Such a long front end on this thing.
Right, you gotta go all the way around it and see the other side. There we go.
You guys hear him threading that? He's getting it back there. All right, Shawn.
Let me grab a impact for the 9/16. I'll snug those up and
We'll be able to take this hoist off.
yeah.
Woo! Pretty sick.
Yeah, if you want to come around and grab that real quick.
Yeah, to the passenger side.
Okay, you said it. I'll go side.
Okay. Is the paint wet?
No.
Just looks wet.
Yeah, this paint was a couple weeks old now. All right. So for right now, we don't have the bell housing, so the bolts just go all the way through. In those top two, I have a couple spacers, but it's gonna have it in position so we can keep moving forward with fabrication. And the bell housing should be here soon. So yeah, sure enough, let's keep moving. Yeah. Woo! Gonna lower this engine.
Yeah, come on, Leroy.
So now we're gonna fit this pan. So gonna go ahead and show you kind of what's going on here. I know it's dark under here, bear with me guys.
Kiss my converse.
But I designed it to fit up to the engine plate. And the adapter plate actually hits the very, very back of the pan there. You can kind of see that right there. And if I look at this angle, you can kind of see that there. So what I need to do is trim in between these two orange notches there so it can slide up past the engine plate. But because that protrudes backwards with the factory oil pan bell housing bolt flange here, I need to actually notch it and then build a false wall that goes to the front of that and weld it in. So I just got done cleaning up this back half and we need to pretty much measure the thickness of the flange with the adapter plate. So that flange with the adapter plate is about 1 3/8. So I need to build that oil containment wall 1 3/8 back. So from the outside, 1 3/8. So now I got a piece of 2" here. Well, same thickness, it's the 035 thickness, and I'm gonna go ahead and rip one of these down to the width here. We got 18 inches. So we'll cut one to 18 inches, and I've actually already done that. And I had to put a half, like, you know, a moon cut in there to make a little room for where that oil pan comes down. We're gonna go ahead and weld it in like that. That way, if it does blow the motor, all that oil can come back to that new false wall, stop there. And if any does happen to get back into this area, I mean, it won't be 100% containment, but if it blew and oil got in there, it would slow down the time in which the oil would get there and start dripping under the car. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the welder all set up, and then we'll go ahead and weld this in. And then on the back here, we need to cut out from this orange line to this orange line down. And that's gonna give us the clearance to clear that adapter plate. So that's what we're getting ready to do. Here we go. Alrighty, so we just got that tacked in, and we'll just go ahead and verify that we're all at 1 3/8. That side actually flexed in a little bit. I'm gonna have to heat that one up and push it back out. My center tack, dead on the money, and that tack's really close. That one still needs to go out just a fuzz too, so I'll have to heat those up, move both of those out a little bit, and then we'll be able to final weld the tray all up and get that tray all up under Sho'nuff.
Yeah.
So that false wall, now we got that all welded in. Now we just gotta weld up the outside perimeter of this, weld up these couple edges here, cut that section out, and then we can move on to the back end mounting, and then the engine catch pan is done. All right guys, so now I got the pan actually up in here, and we're looking at the back side of the engine and the engine plate. And the pan actually is right down here. But the point of interest right now is getting it mounted. So the front I actually have Zeus fasteners, but the rear I didn't want fasteners that can be undone. So what I'm going to do is the pan still has a plate back here from like here to here of aluminum, and then on this side from here to here, that's all part of the structure. So what I want to do is I'm going to drill a hole like right here, and then one right here. And well, I'm gonna drill them to an exact size. I have some steel rod that is like 3/8, and I'm gonna drill it through the engine plate and through the catch pan. And then I'll weld it into the engine plate here, and I will leave a section sticking out on this side as well, so that will dub as a holding post for the transmission pan itself. And it has rear Zeus fasteners, so it'll slide up in here, it'll have holes on the back lip, slide onto that post so the front lip's supported, then you tip it up, lock your Zeus's in, that pan's secured. The front is the same, but the Zeus fasteners are on the front and the posts are on the rear, so it's just one side to the other. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera up and go ahead and blast these holes for you guys real quick, and then we'll weld in some posts.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so now got my drill bit, and here's the steel rod, both equal in size. So I'll end up cutting off, you know, probably about 1.5 inch length long piece. So I'll give 3/4 of stub on both sides of this mid plate.
Yeah, that's right. Bow, sucker. Yeah. Bows down to your master.
And the aluminum. All right. So there's our holes. So the front and rear, so the front tray and the mid plate now have their holes. So before I weld this in, I'm gonna go ahead and build the transmission pan now. So once I get it built, I can take the engine tray out and run the drill bit through this way so they're all lined up. I can just put that stud in and weld it, and it'll be our holder.
Yeah.
All right, so I gotta make the pin hangers real quick. So I got the pin dowel material in my drill, and I'm over here by my trusty old belt sander, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this all rounded off. All right. So that went ahead and gave that a nice rounded tip there. So when I go to put the trays, slip over them, there'll be a nice, smooth, easy, round fit. You know, guide it right on. And now I'm just gonna cut it down to 1.5 inch length, flip it over and round the other side, and then shove them in there.
Yeah.
All right, we're back in here, back in the belly of Sho'nuff, and I got the little pins both made up, all rounded up, and we're gonna go ahead and insert them into these holes. I'm not gonna weld them in right now because we still have to make the other pan. I will be getting to that tomorrow, and I want to knock the pins back out so I can have the other pan off and drill through this so they're perfect alignment right where I want it. So yeah, we're just gonna wiggle these in there, a little tight. Let's give it a little. So yeah, that one's about 3/4 inch protruding out still, and there we go. So with those in there now, these clamps should be able to, oh, that one fell right off practically. And then once I take this one off, it should just stay up there. And yep, that pan's not trying to come down. It's nice and solid. And then, you know, I'll clean the paint back off right here, and then we'll weld just on one side of both pins once we have both pans made, and they'll stick out equal distance both sides, and that allows that side of the pan to slip onto the pegs and lift up to your Zeus's, twist, lock them in. We have secured pans. So yeah, so there's the underside. We got the engine pan, there's where the trans pan's gonna go, the floor all the way on back. Let me grab the light. We got the 4 links all up in here now. Still got to make just our rods for the anti-roll bar right there. And then our brake lines, and we're pretty much wrapping up back here, besides swapping out the springs on the coils. And then, yeah, bleed brakes here shortly. But we got the underside all sealed up. She's ready to rock and roll almost. We're just knocking out everything else now. Today we have the transmission pan that we're going to be putting together and try to get the bottom sheet metal of Sho'nuff all knocked out. Get that big one off our list, and then it's all on to cool stuff like power production and wiring. Well, wiring's not always fun, it gets a little boring, but yeah. So anyways, today we're going to do the trans pan. So I've already cut out a piece the size we need, and it is like 20 1/8 by 21 1/2, and that's what I needed to fill the hole where the transmission pan is going to go up in there. That nice void you see there on the underside. And then while it was up there, I also traced out the cage into there. So the blue lines represent where the actual bars are, because I have a little overlap so it holds tight and keeps air from getting inside the Sho'nuff. I had some 2-inch left over from doing the engine pan for the inside lip edges. So I went and bent up a 90 because that's what I could get for one side. Front nose here needs to follow those 2 corners because that's where the Zeus clip tabs are. So we'll have Zeus fasteners in those 2 corners. And then this other side tab, it will end up getting, after it's all welded and we put it up in there, we're going to take the drill and drill a couple holes in the corners for the standoff posts that hold the front side of it. So that's what we have in store for us, and let's go ahead and get started.
Am I the meanest?
Sho'nuff.
Am I the prettiest?
Sho'nuff.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sho'nuff.
Alrighty, now that I got the perimeter tacked, I'm gonna go ahead and test fit it in there, make sure it still slides in nicely. Otherwise I'm gonna break a tack and trim an edge if it's too long somewhere or too wide. I'll break and take a little off. So we'll test fit that real quick, and if that's good to go, we'll weld up the seams. If not, we'll trim, adjust, and then weld up seams. And after that, we can attach it to the floor plate.
Yeah. And I say, who's the master? You say, Sho'nuff.
Okay, so I just got the trans pan all put back up in there. Right now it's held up by a pole jack. And then I also have the containment ring. Stuffed down in there. So this next step is we're going to trace that onto the pan, because that should be exactly where it's going to sit. And then we can also mark where we need to notch for the bell housing, and we can continue from here. So I am going to reset up the camera so I can climb up in here and get this marked, because I'm about 5 feet in the air. Okay. Try to get some better light in here for you guys. Yeah. Okay. So we go ahead and get these corners marked out. That edge I'm not going to trace because right now it has a little bit of some floor glue still on the rail and it pushed it in, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. We're going to go ahead and pull this pan out, tack it, and retest fit. Alrighty, well we got that all out of there. So now what we need to do is do a couple notches. So the reason that was bowed in really bad, I forgot there was a mount there for the clutch line, and I need to notch it there, and then I also need to notch for the bell housing, but I will do the bell housing notching afterwards. We just won't tack in that vicinity because that piece of material will be removed. And then once we get the bell housing, we'll determine at where a false wall will get added. So in the meantime, we'll just notch this corner over here, get it tacked, make sure it fits. And then from there, we can actually get our alignment holes for the front hangers drilled. And then also we can also get these corners done up to fit the Zeus fasteners. So let's go ahead and get this tacked up and keep it moving. All right, well, I got that all welded up and I went ahead and shoved it back up in there.
Yeah.
And I took the engine pan out so we could go ahead and drill the holes in the back of the pan here. That's where those posts are gonna be to hold both sides of the pans, and then the Zeus is on the other end. So we'll go ahead and get these drilled out real quick and then climb up inside and mark the Zeuses. And there we go. We now have those holes drilled into the pan on both sides. So all I have to do now is weld in the pins into the engine plate, and those are done. And we just have one pair of Zeuses left, and the engine transplant pans are done. All right, so now I just got to mark the Zeuses in there. Then you just gotta drop that out and drill the holes, hang the Zeus plates, put spring clips in, and those are done.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now for one of the last steps we need to go ahead and put the Zeus fasteners in here. So that'd be these little guys right here. Fun little spring clippy guys. And on the chassis side we have brackets with little spring clips that are riveted in. And this little groove here has twisted angles in it that when you twist it, it locks in and holds it. So the Zeus clips are what retains the pan to the chassis. So we're gonna go ahead and run a pilot hole down the center of both of those, and then we'll use a unibit to step it up to the hole size we want, which in this case is 11/16. And then once we have that in there, we'll have it centered, and then we'll mark the rivet holes and drill and rivet it in, hammer them flat, and then that pan's ready to rock and roll. One pilot hole. Two pilot holes. Now we'll step it up.
Am I the meanest?
Sho'nuff.
Am I the prettiest?
Sho'nuff.
Am I?
Alright. Now we got 1/8" drill bit, because we're using 1/8" rivets. So I'm gonna hold these centered in a little spot. Drill one. Use one of my good old Clecos. Hold it in place. And drill the other one. Make sure it's nice and centered. Looks good. Beautiful. Now you just gotta rivet these down. Quite a protrusion that sticks up, but the ball is still in there. So what I end up doing is take a little punch, knock the ball back out the way it pulled in, and then I will put down a block and hammer these flat. and that way they don't hold up on the brackets on the chassis side. All right, now flatten these ones down. And there we go. I flattened those rivets down, and now they won't be protruding and in the way of getting the belly pan up. So time to go test fit it, see if they lock on. Yeah. All right. Well, we're on about the last step. We just got to weld the little steel posts into the engine plate for the backside mounting of both of the pans. So what I did is I found a little bushing here. That little bushing is just barely bigger than the pin, so I put a little piece of welding wire in there, and that gives me a flat surface to hold it tight and square up against the plate to keep it square on this side for welding. So now I just need to tack it in and get it welded up real fast. Alright, now that's holding it nice and square on the back side. It's still nice and flush. I got tacks on opposite sides. We'll go ahead and weld that into place. And these welds are really just to hold the pins so they don't fall out or anything like that. Support the aluminum pans. There we go. Got that one all welded in, and now both of them are all done. We got our pins, and they look like that on this side. And this one I just got to take the little bushing off that was keeping it square. So yeah, now we have all the mounting points and the pans built, other than just painting them or powder coating or, you know, making them look however we want them to look. These pans are done. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Sho'nuff. Hope you like, subscribe, check out our merchandise on Pfispeed.com. You guys have a great day. Love y'all. Peace out. Sho'nuff. Yeah.